This is my husband, who has volunteered, or I have made volunteered, to be my audience member for my midterm paper for my public speaking class. Ring, ring, ring. As you look at the caller ID on your phone, you see your sibling, your significant other, or your child's name appear. You answer, hearing the person through the phone hysterically crying, whispering, "Your mom is gone." As those words left their mouth, your heart drops, your stomach knots, and the breath is knocked right out of you. As my example, I have been the one receiving the phone call. However, I have also been the one making the phone call. Neither are enjoyable. September 11, 2012, in the wee hours of the morning, was the worst day of my life. I woke up to my beautiful baby girl dead. My husband called the ambulance, my sister-in-law performed CPR, and I paced between the two, knowing in my heart she was gone. When the flight paramedics confirmed she was gone, my husband and I began the telephone calls to our families to inform them that our precious baby was gone forever. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, grief is described as a cause of deep sadness. The purpose of this speech is to explain the grief as individuals we may face losing our loved ones along the journey we call life. Causes of grief, understanding the grief process, and of group grief work. Grief is expressed over many life events. Grief is defined as deep sadness, even though the primary reason for grief is the death of a loved one. There are many other reasons, such as occurrences that happens in one life. According to Grief and Loss Education, grief can be expressed over events such as divorce, abuse, recovery, illness, trauma, career changes, and basic life transitions. Many of us know and have grieved over the fact that someone we love has been diagnosed with some form of cancer. Sometimes finding out this kind of diagnosis is just as hard to accept as death. Plus, how many of us marry with the plans of divorce? I can bet 0. Nevertheless, it does not ease the pain of divorce, no matter where the blame is being placed. The purpose of this speech is to provide information on grief of loss, which is not only an uncomfortable topic for many of us, but an interesting fact presented in Grief, Loss, and Education is that beginner counselors also find this an uncomfortable topic compared to the ones previously mentioned. My biggest question is, why is grieving and loss such a taboo subject? According to Life After Death, grief is a process, not an endpoint. The belief that there will be an end to grief of a loss is unreachable. Why as humans have we given this false hope to ourselves? Each loss affects the bereaved individuals differently. I believe we mourn each life that is taken from this physical world. However, some we are actually able to celebrate. Their lives and the mark they left on us and the world, while others will always cause a heartache, unable to heal. Instead of believing that we will get over this loss, but that we will embrace this loss. Life After Death presents that an individual will show this embracement and remember the descent, understanding the changes that come with the loss, and the determination to reinvest in our life. We all remembered our loved ones differently. For my daughter, my husband, and my immediate family get together to celebrate each birthday and support each other through each passing. I understand that my life will never be the same as I thought it would be back in December of 2011. However, I comprehend that God had a different plan for Logan and I. I have proven to myself and family that I have decided to reinvest in my life. I am continuing my education, as well as all of you can see, and I have added to my family since her death, with a little sister and brother for her. If you know someone who has lost a child, and you're afraid to mention them because you think you might make them sad, by reminding them that they died, you're not reminding them. They didn't forget they died. What you're reminding them of is that you remembered that they lived, and that is a great gift. Spoken by Elizabeth Edwards. I know this quote mentions the death of a child. Nevertheless, I feel it fits the loss of any loved one. Which brings me to another point, that life after death mentions a factor that shows where bereaved individuals progress by being able to talk about their loved one in a composing manner. Grieving your loved one does not mean you will never feel pain when mentioning or thinking of them. Another milestone marker for progress is being able to return to daily activities such as work or join in additional ones, like tennis. Probably the progress markers that are harder to catch are the more personal ones of their eating and sleeping routines. Intervening and asking for help when an individual is struggling with making progress is not a sign of not being able to support them or a sign of weakness. According to group work, membership of group counseling has shown to be as effective as, or even more effective than individual counseling. As humans, we like to be proven that we're not alone, especially in sticky and complicated situations like death. So for those who struggle with grieving the loss of their loved one, it is good to have other options. Some lean to handling their grieving on their own, either by themselves physically or one-on-one with a counselor. And then there's some that want to be in a group, even though it's the most underutilized option out there. This is where individuals are able to sit down with other individuals, experiencing the same type of circumstances. Group work also allows all members to discuss and listen about each personal experience. Angel of Hope is a local place near me that holds a group grief work for bereaved individuals of loss of children. Angel of Hope sent us a bookmark and a penny with an angel punched out of it. They let us know that there was a group of individuals that got together and talked about their loss, and that my husband, I, and our families were more than welcome to come. As we have discussed in this speech, grief is something that each of us face at some point in time in our lives. We have discussed what individuals may grieve about, the understanding of the process of grief, and how some individuals need to seek additional support through a group called grief work. I challenge each of you to tell your significant other, parent, sibling, child, aunt, uncle, cousin, and or grandparent, and just let them know you love them and possibly miss them if you have not seen or heard from them in a while. And I would like all of you to make amends with someone whom you are arguing with, because I believe none of us would want that phone call, especially knowing we were not on good terms with one of our loved ones. I do not want the next time you hear your phone ring, 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 that is someone notifying you a loved one has passed. But do not underestimate the time of life. Not everyone lives until 90. There are individuals like my daughter who pass away at the age of 1 month and 3 days. According to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the reality is that you will grieve forever. You will not get over the loss of a loved one. You will learn to live with it. You will heal. You will rebuild yourself around the loss you have suffered. You will be whole again, but you will never be the same. Nor should you be the same, nor would you want to.